today's video. So today I want to talk about double tracking. This is a really useful technique used in just about every genre of music you can think of. It's something I've been asked a lot about in comments and direct messages, as well as in past lessons with students. So I wanted to make a video, talk about some different techniques and specifically kind of the thought process behind different ways you can double track and achieve double tracking depending on what genre or what style of music you're working in or what the production goals are for the particular track that you're working on. So really I think there's three main ways we can achieve double tracking, and the first of which being where we track a part, hard pan it one side, track the exact same part with the exact same tone, hard pan it the other side. And this gives us a really wide sound, gives us really powerful sound and a very balanced sound. So this technique is very common in more modern styles of music and also heavier styles of music as well, where we're going for a real kind of wall of sound effect with the guitars. So this first example that I'm going to show, I've got a riff and we're going to hear it as a centralized mono, just a single take to begin with, and then I'm going to, on the second round of the riff, pan it to one side and double track it with the exact same tone, the exact same riff on the other side. What we should hear, it sounds much thicker, much fuller, but it also leaves space down the middle, as we said before, for that lead vocal or a lead instrument if we want one there. So the second technique would be where we had the same part left and right on each side of the mix, but this time with a different tone. And this to me can sound a little bit less modern, obviously dependent on the tones that you're actually dialing in. Can maybe take a little bit longer to find tones that work well together. And this difference in tone can be achieved either with a different guitar, different pickup position, different amp, or even a different pick can make a difference here. And different players will prefer different amounts of variation within the tone. Some players will like to have quite a thin sound on one side and a thicker sound on the other. So the best way to achieve that would be single coils on one side, humbuckers on another. But really it's whatever you feel fits the track that you're working on best. So where I tend to find myself going for this kind of technique more is where the guitar part has a little bit more room to breathe, be it either chord ring outs or a chord progression, be it picked or strummed, or even a melody line, just double tracking it with a slight variation, something where the tone has a little bit more chance to kind of shine and bloom, depending what effects you've got on there. So this next example, we're going to hear the same guitar part left and right, but with a different tone on either side. So the third technique is by far my favourite of the three, and it's definitely the one I use the most personally. And this is where we have a different tone left and right, but also a different part. And how much those parts vary from one another can also vary track to track. Sometimes it can be quite a subtle change, other times it can be a completely different part altogether. And where I really like these kind of double tracked ideas is on chord progressions. So you might have on one side some open chords with some kind of country fills in there. And then on the other side, you might have a higher voicing of the chord, or maybe put a capo on and use different shapes there. So it can sometimes take a little bit longer with this method to find two parts that complement each other well and really work well together and factoring in the respective tones you need for each different part. But it can lead to some really wide sounding organic stereo guitar mixes, and really useful, as I mentioned, for open chords or more sparse sections of a mix where each side really has room to kind of highlight the differences between each side of the mix. So for this last example, I'm going to show two different guitar parts, both on the same chord progression, but a completely different take on that chord progression. So the harmony will work, but rhythmically and melodically, they'll both be very different, and whereabouts I play them on the neck will change. I'll show each part in isolation first, so we can see the differences, and then I'll put them both together in a stereo mix. we've heard a few different examples of double tracking there. Some other things just to bear in mind when recording though. Obviously if you've got guitars left and right, we've got space down the middle. It is quite common practice if you've got two gaining guitar parts on either side to have a central, slightly cleaner part for a little bit more clarity. Or vice versa, if you've got two clean parts left and right and you want some more weight behind it, you could put a dirtier track down the centre. You can also vary how far apart they are, and that can vary throughout a track. So in your verses you might have them slightly narrower and then alternate them in the chorus to go wider, which will make the chorus sound a little bit bigger. And last thing to mention, I guess, is that gain will work cumulatively. So if you've got quite a heavy part, you may find that when you double track, you might just want to back the gain down a little bit to maintain some of the clarity in there. So hopefully that sheds some light on some different things to try out when double tracking guitars. It's definitely something I'd recommend for anyone looking at getting into recording guitar, either be it at home or on a professional basis. It's an industry standard technique that's used on almost every recording that's done in some capacity, so it is definitely something worth having a look at. If anyone's got any questions though, let me know in the comment section, and let me know which of the three techniques you preferred, whether it will be same on both sides or some variation, be it tonal or compositionally. If you did enjoy the video, please do click like and subscribe. It is very much appreciated and really does help out the performance of these videos. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.